Ladies, if you've ever had a man pull away, shut down, or give you that blank stare, you might have said something that rubbed him the wrong way. And trust me, as women over 70, there are certain things we say, sometimes without even thinking, that can push men away faster than we realize. Today, I'm breaking down 12 things you should never say to men if you want better relationships, respect, and even a little admiration. Watch until the end, because some of these will shock you. And before we dive in, leave a comment below. What's one thing you think women should never say to men? Let's see what you all think. Now let's get into it. 1. You should be more like. Ladies, if there's one way to make a man feel small, unappreciated, or even resentful, it's comparing him to another man. Think about it. Imagine if a man told you, "You should be more like my ex-wife. She always kept the house spotless." Or, "My friend's wife never complains like you do." How would that make you feel? Annoyed? Hurt? Unappreciated? Well, men feel the same way. Whether you're talking about an old flame, a friend's husband, or even a celebrity, saying, "You should be more like him," is a slap to his ego. A classic example? Some women compare their current partner to a late husband. "Tom always fixed everything around the house. He was so handy." While you might mean it as an innocent memory, to the man in front of you, it can sound like, "You're not as good as my late husband." The truth is, men want to be admired for who they are, not reminded of who they aren't. Instead of comparing, try recognizing what they do well. Instead of saying, "Jim always helps Mary around the house," say, "I love how you always take the time to make me laugh." Watch how his attitude changes when he feels valued instead of judged. And if you really want him to change a habit, frame it in a way that encourages instead of criticizes. Instead of, "You should be more like," try, "I love when you do this. I'd love to see more of that." A small change in wording makes a world of difference. You're too old for that. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been told you're too old for something? Maybe it was wearing a certain style, traveling alone, or even trying new technology. Didn't that sting a little? Men feel the same way. And let me tell you, men hate being told they're past their prime. I once had a friend, Carol, whose husband, Jim, decided he wanted to start lifting weights again at 72. Carol, without thinking, said, "Jim, you're too old for that. You'll hurt yourself." You know what Jim did? He dropped the idea completely, not because he was incapable, but because he felt dismissed. The funny thing is, Jim wasn't trying to become a bodybuilder. He just wanted to stay active and feel strong. But that one comment made him feel like an old man who should just sit on the couch and accept his fate. Here's the truth. Just because someone is over 70 doesn't mean they should stop dreaming, trying, or living. When you tell a man he's too old for something, you're not just doubting his ability. You're taking away a piece of his independence. Instead, support him. If he wants to travel, try a new hobby, or even start dating again, let him. You might be surprised at what he's capable of. And if you're genuinely concerned, instead of, "You're too old for that," say, "I think that's great. Let's..." Just make sure you do it safely. Encouragement goes a long way. You never listen. Oh, ladies, how many times have we said this one? You never listen. I get it. It's frustrating when you're telling a man something important and he seems distracted, uninterested, or worse, he forgets what you just said. But here's something I learned the hard way. Men listen differently than we do. We women, we're natural conversationalists. We listen, nod, give verbal affirmations like, "Mm-hmm," and "Yes, I get it." We process things out loud. But men, they're different. They might sit there silently, arms crossed, no reaction, and you assume they aren't paying attention, but they are. They're just listening in their way. A perfect example? My neighbor, Alice, once told her husband, Frank, about a leaky faucet in the kitchen. Frank didn't respond, So Alice got frustrated and snapped, "You never listen." Frank blinked at her and said, "I heard you. The faucet. I'll fix it tomorrow." Men are solution-oriented. They don't always engage in conversation the way we do. Sometimes they hear something, process it internally, and then act on it later. The problem? When we assume they aren't listening, we get annoyed, and when we snap, "You never listen," it shuts down communication. Instead, try something different. Instead of assuming he's ignoring you, ask, "What do you think about that?" Or, "Did you catch what I said?" in a non-accusing tone. And here's a trick that works wonders. If you really want him to remember something, make it direct and simple. Instead of a long-winded explanation, try, "Honey, I need your help with this. Can you handle it?" That way, he knows it's important. Because trust me, he is listening. He's just doing it his way. Be a man. Ladies, if you want to shut a man down emotionally in 2 seconds flat, just tell him to be a man. This phrase might seem harmless or even motivational, but for many men, it feels like a punch to the gut. Why? Because it questions their very identity. What does being a man even mean anyway? Does it mean never showing emotions? Never asking for help? Never admitting weakness? The truth is, men, just like women, feel a wide range of emotions. They get scared, they get overwhelmed, and yes, sometimes they even need a good cry. But when we tell them to be a man, we're telling them that their feelings aren't valid. I'll never forget something I witnessed at a coffee shop once. An older couple was sitting next to me, and the man, probably in his 70s, was talking about how he was struggling with some health issues. His wife, instead of offering comfort, just scoffed and said, "Oh, be a man. You're always complaining." I watched his whole face drop. In that moment, he shut down completely. He went from opening up to his wife to sitting there, silent, staring at his coffee. That one sentence told him, "Your feelings don't matter." Instead of saying, "Be a man," try saying, "I know this is tough for you, and I appreciate that you're sharing it with me." It's not about babying them. It's about allowing them to be human. And trust me, when a man feels emotionally safe with you, he'll give you the world. You used to be so. Ah, nostalgia. We all love to reminisce about the past, how things used to be, how we used to look, how life used to feel. But be careful when using this phrase with a man, because sometimes it stings more than you realize. You used to be so strong. You used to be so ambitious. You used to be so romantic. Ladies, men are very aware of how they've changed over the years. They know if they've lost muscle, gained weight, slowed down, or aren't as sharp as they used to be. And when we remind them, even with good intentions, it can feel like a dagger to their confidence. Let me tell you about my friend Diane. She and her husband, Mark, have been together for 40 years. One night, Mark was struggling to open a jar, and Diane jokingly said, "Wow, you used to be so strong. What happened?" She meant it as light-hearted teasing, but Mark just sighed, set the jar down, and walked away. It wasn't funny to him. It was a reminder that he wasn't the man he once was. Instead of focusing on what's changed, try highlighting what's still there. Instead of, "You used to be so strong," say, "I love that you always find a way to get things done." Instead of, "You used to be so romantic," say, "I still love the little things you do for me." Aging is hard enough. Let's lift our men up, not tear them down. Is that what you're wearing? Ladies, I know we mean well. Sometimes we just know a better outfit choice, right? We see our man about to leave the house in an old, wrinkled shirt or mismatched socks, and we can't help ourselves. But let me tell you, nothing deflates a man faster than hearing, "Is that what you're wearing?" Because here's what he hears. "You look bad. You have no style. I don't approve of you." I'll never forget a story my friend Gloria told me. Her husband, Dave, was excited for their anniversary dinner. He put on his favorite button-down shirt, one he had owned for years, and walked into the living room, smiling. Gloria took one look at him and said, "Oh, is that what you're wearing?" The smile disappeared. Dave looked down at his shirt, mumbled something about changing, and disappeared into the bedroom. The excitement? Gone. Gloria wasn't trying to hurt him. She just wanted him to wear something nicer. But the way she said it made him feel wrong. Instead of, "Is that what you're wearing?" try saying, "You always look good in that blue shirt," or, "I love when you wear that jacket, it makes you look so sharp." Men want to feel confident, and trust me, when a man feels good, he'll look good too. 7. You're just like your father. Ladies, if you ever want to push a man's buttons, compare him to his father, especially if that relationship wasn't great. Now, some men admire their fathers, but for many, it's a complicated topic. Maybe their dad was distant, critical, or had habits they swore they'd never repeat. So when you say, "You're just like your father," it can feel like a slap in the face. I once knew a woman named Martha who had been married for over 50 years. One day, her husband forgot to take out the trash, and she sighed and said, "You're just like your father, always putting things off." She didn't think much of it, but her husband went silent. She later told me he barely spoke the rest of the evening. Why? Because he had spent his whole life trying not to be like his father. That one comment made him feel like all his efforts were useless. Instead of making a comparison, focus on the behavior. If he's being stubborn, don't. Say, "You're just like your father." Say, "I know you like doing things your way, but I'd appreciate it if you considered my side." It's a small shift, but it makes a huge difference. You should know how to do that by now. Here's something we sometimes forget. Just because a man is older doesn't mean he knows everything. We assume that by 50, 60, or 70, a man should just know how to fix a leaky sink, file taxes without a headache, or understand the latest technology. But let's be honest, haven't we struggled to learn new things over the years? Telling a man, "You should know how to do that by now," doesn't help. It just makes him feel inadequate. I saw this firsthand with my neighbor Jim. He's 75 and recently bought his first smartphone. His wife Linda kept rolling her eyes saying, "You should know how to use that by now. Everyone has a smartphone." Jim got so frustrated that he stopped trying. Instead of enjoying new technology, he avoided it altogether. A better approach? Offer encouragement. Instead of, "You should know how to do that," say, "Want me to help? We can figure it out together." Men don't like feeling talked down to, but when you make them feel supported instead of criticized, they're more likely to listen and learn. "I told you so." Oh, this one. It's so tempting, isn't it? Especially when you knew something was a bad idea, and now he's realizing it too. But let's be honest. Has saying, "I told you so," ever made a man feel good? Has it ever made him say, "Wow, you were right. Thank you for rubbing it in"? Of course not. Men have pride. They don't like to admit when they're wrong, and they definitely don't like to be reminded of it. I remember a woman named Evelyn telling me about her husband, Frank. He insisted on taking a shortcut on a road trip, even though Evelyn knew it would take longer. Sure enough, they got lost. As soon as he pulled up the GPS, she crossed her arms and said, "I told you so." Frank's mood soured for the rest of the drive. Not because he was mad at her. He was mad at himself. He knew she was right, but hearing it out loud just made him feel worse. A better approach? Instead of, "I told you so," try, "Well, now we know for next time." It's a way to acknowledge the mistake without rubbing it in. Men appreciate a woman who's wise, but they also appreciate a woman who's gracious. 10. You never listen. Ladies, let me ask you something. When was the last time a man actually responded well to being told, "You never listen"? Probably never, because when a man hears that, he doesn't think, "Oh wow, I should start listening more." No, he hears, "I'm failing, I'm not good enough," and instead of trying harder, he usually shuts down. Now, don't get me wrong. Some men do have selective hearing. You could tell them the house is on fire, and they'd still be focused on the football game. But the problem with saying, "you never listen," is that it's an absolute. It makes it sound like he never listens, even if he does sometimes. I remember my friend Susan telling me about an argument she had with her husband, Bill. She asked him to pick up bread from the store, and he forgot. She snapped, "You never." "Listen to me." Bill got defensive. "What do you mean? I just fixed the sink yesterday because you asked me to. I listened then, didn't I?" See what happened? Instead of fixing the problem, they ended up arguing about whether or not he ever listens. A better way to handle it? Instead of, "You never listen," try, "I don't feel heard when I ask for things." Can we work on that? Men respond much better when they feel like they can fix something rather than just being blamed. That's not how you do it. This one's tricky. Sometimes a man is doing something completely wrong, and it's so hard not to correct him. But hear me out. How you correct him makes all the difference. Men take pride in being capable. They like feeling like they can handle things. So when you say, "That's not how you do it," what he hears is, "You're incompetent." Take my friend Carol, for example. Her husband, Mike, decided to help with the laundry one day. He was so proud of himself, sorting, washing, folding. Then Carol walked in and said, "Oh no, that's not how you fold towels." Mike's face fell. Did it really matter how he folded the towels? Probably not. But in that moment, he felt like his effort wasn't good enough. A better way to handle it? Instead of, "That's not how you do it," try, "Oh wow, thanks for helping. Want to see a trick I use to make folding easier?" Men are much more open to learning if they don't feel like they're being scolded. I can do it myself. Now, I know, sometimes it's just easier to do things yourself. You ask him to hang a picture, and 2 weeks later, it's still sitting on the floor. You ask him to fix the sink, and next thing you know, you're calling a plumber, so you start saying, "Forget it, I can do it myself." But here's what most women don't realize. When you say that, you're slowly removing yourself from his world. Men want to feel useful. They want to feel needed. When you stop asking for help, they stop offering. And over time, that can create distance in a relationship. I knew a woman named Linda who had been married for over 40 years. She was independent, capable, and used to doing things on her own. One day, her husband Tom said to her, "You never ask me to do anything anymore." She shrugged and said, "Well, I just figured it's easier this way." And then Tom said, something heartbreaking. "Yeah, but it makes me feel like you don't need me." That hit her hard. So ladies, even if you can do something yourself, sometimes it's good to let a man help, even if he takes longer or does it differently. Instead of, "I can do it myself," try, "Would you mind helping me with this?" It makes a man feel valued. And when a man feels valued, he'll move mountains for you. What do you think? Have you ever said one of these things? Or do you have another one to add? Leave a comment below. And if you love learning about how to navigate life over 70 with confidence, wisdom, and a little bit of humor, sign up for my Savvy Senior newsletter. It's packed with insights, stories, and tips you won't want to miss. Check the link below to join. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Until next time, stay wise and stay wonderful.